De España.
De España.
Uh-huh. And hold up, mommy. Hold up. Trigger something. What? Real talk. I don't know if I'm going to do it in El Verano Próximo, pero it is on my bucket list of things to do. We got to educate ourselves and our people about the 700 years of los morenitos controlando España. We always hear it's like this little pocket. Oh, the black, the Moors.
Right.
These Moors.
800 años que están en este país ahí influye alhambra, las palabras, morra, que más una palabra, que jarra es una palabra. Ojalá que esto todo eso influencia.
I mean, we everywhere. You know, they try to keep it secret. From the Aboriginals and Oceania, us to us, we're everywhere. And so that's another, even though that's not that, when we think about Afro-Latino, I know that's not normally incluido, porque es diferente, but dude, let alone Guinea Equatorial. That's
a whole other thing. But
W-woke, period, consciously be aware what you saying. A, accents matter, stress and expression, romance swagger. G, grammar check, conjugate the verbs, use the right verb tense. A, tengo un secreto, escúchame bien por un rato.
Hey, hola, everybody. Everybody in the club. Not getting tipsy. We are not promoting that right now. Everybody in the club getting giddy, excited. We're here with Spanish Swag. Yo me llamo Jessie Feliz, the host of Spanish Swag, y estoy bien entusiasmada hoy. I'm so geeked and I'm fired up. ¿Por qué? Okay, I'm already, una persona muy feliz. Like sometimes a little too much. You need to turn it down, Jessie. Pero hoy, para el show, tenemos a una invitada, una persona that represents, for real, y'all, hashtag goals. Ella es una mamá. Ella es una hija, ella es afroamericanita, que es bilingüe, habla español perfectamente y no es una persona de herencia latina. That's what we're trying to elevate más y más. We support everyone's language development, pero the fact that she's part of la comunidad, someone who has acquired this second language and actually, she speaks more than 2 languages, so I'm trying to get up on that level. I'm just speaking that Espanol, English. So I am so excited that we have Dr. Cami J. Anderson. She is about to bless our ears and our eyes with so many amazing things as we learn about her story and learn more about her. I just want to put a disclaimer out as we bring her to the forefront. Follow her, por favor, on Instagram at Bilingual Brown Babies. She's all about cultivating this bilingual household for us, for our people. So whether tú estás en los Estados Unidos, o tú estás en Canadá, o en África, o en México, Costa Rica, Florida, en América del Sur, en cualquier parte del mundo, si tú eres una persona and you want to learn how to cultivate this bilingual household, you need to connect with her. Check out her website, which is bilingualbrownbabies.com. And here we go. I would be remiss if I did just not pause for the cause and say gracias por haberse tomado tiempo de estar aquí con nosotros. Pura vida. Cami, Dr. Cami, ¿cómo está, mi amor?
Hola, bella, ¿cómo andas?
Bien, Dios es fiel. Gracias a él. Gracias a ti también. Primera cosita, antes de continuar. We were learning hace 2 semanas this phrase, amo lo que hago, right? Amo lo que hago. And my question is, I already know. The question's for the audience. Ustedes aman lo que hacen. Do y'all love what you do? And my question para ti, mi amor, ¿amas lo que haces tú?
Claro que sí, claro que sí, porque es un trabajo por mi gente, por mi comunidad, ¿sí? It's for my people.
Yeah.
And I am sin apología, ¿sí? I'm unapologetically Black. So I'm going to do stuff for my people. Anytime I can do that, it just brings me joy. I forget I'm working sometimes when I walk into my office. I'm just like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to, and then eso, y eso, y currículum, y también, libro, okay, está bien. Oh, clientes, okay, está. Sí.
Pura vida. So everybody remember that phrase. Amo, repeat after me, y'all. Amo lo que hago. Amo lo que hago. That means I love what I do. And let's just pause for the cause. You may not be in the position where you are loving everything that you got going on, but I just want to encourage you all to cultivate Like, find something. Even you got to start it from the bottom now. Yeah. And we're going to learn about how Dr. Kami started from the bottom now. We're going to learn about her journey, but we should all be able to cultivate that happiness, that passion. Hay una cita de Alan Cohen que a mí me encanta que se dice, sé feliz con lo que tienes. Because we got to remember to still be apreciado, right? Agradecido. Because we could get really caught up with this colonizer energy because we've been roaming these lands for más de 4 siglos, lo siento. But we got to still be feliz y agradecido por todas las oportunidades que tenemos como afroamericanitos, right? Because con ese pasaporte, with the passport we have, we are able to travel and do some things that everyone across el mundo cannot do. But we have to also remember, sé feliz con lo que tienes, entusiástate con lo que quieres. And so my question, I'm going to be silenciosa, which is hard for me because I talk all the time, but I want to speak and listen to you, Dr. Kami. Please, cuéntanos tu historia. Hágalo en una manera bilingüe, porque algunas de las personas que están escuchando no hablan bastante bien el español. And so we're here to learn and grow and laugh all together. So, por favor, mi amor, it's your turn. Tell us, ¿por cuánto tiempo hablas español? How did you learn Spanish? How long you've been speaking it? And tell us all about you.
Ok, primeramente soy una persona vibrante quien ama el color anaranjado y tiene 4 hijos, lo siento, 4 hijos y me encanta el ballet africano, primeramente. That's first and foremost. That is who I am. I'm a lover of orange, got 4 kids, and I'm a lover of African dance.
Can we just pause for the cause? You got 4 kids. I be on the struggle bus with my 2. Tengo dos hijos. Esa queen, this queen right here tiene 4. So we want to give a round of applause para esa reina. Okay, mi amor. Okay, and you said you're a lover of African, what type of African dance or folk dance?
Solamente África de Oeste, quizás Senegal, Guinea y todo eso.
De lo western.
Porque bailaba por, ¿cuántos años? Hace 27 años profesionalmente ballet africano.
Wow. And disclaimer, if you got your kids enrolled in that jessiefeliz.com after school learning program, Dr. Kami is going to grace us with her awesomeness en febrero para el mes de la herencia negra for Black History Month, which is Black History Month every day, okay, in our lives. Pero especialmente en febrero en los Estados Unidos es cuando nosotros nos celebramos muchísimo ese tiempo, and she will be hooking us up, teaching us an authentic lesson in Español. Okay, so tell us more. When did you first start learning el español? ¿Por cuánto tiempo habla español? And what led you to becoming bilingual and trilingual like you are now?
Empecé en 6th grado, 6th grade, pero no con intención, ¿sí? Porque it was really, a counselor said, ¿quieres hablar? ¿Necesitas un idioma? ¿Cuál es? ¿Francés o español? No sé, español. Okay, we'll do Spanish. Y se pasa para allá. And it went from there, right? So I did, like everybody else, Spanish in school, all of that stuff. Got to college, and pienso que voy a ser médico antes de la primera examen de ciencia. Y necesito cambiar mis estudios. My biology class was like, maybe a doctor ain't for you, boo. So I ended up being a Spanish major because I was minoring in it already. So recibí mi bachillerato. I got my degree in Spanish and trabajaba intensamente con los hoteles en Cancún, Bahamas y Jamaica.
That is so amazing. So después de graduarse, te fuiste al Caribe.
Sí.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing.
Mm-hmm. And there is when I kind of saw, so my classes didn't really make me bilingual like I thought it did. Because, you got like el español de clase y español de vida. Y hay una diferencia. Es muy importante para todas las personas que están escuchando. It's really important for everybody that's listening. The book Spanish is not what's going to get you fluent, y'all. Okay? It's going to help you, but you won't get somewhere and be like, whoa, which is what I did with that first job. I got to Cancun, was like, whoa.
Pero sabe una cosa, you know what I like to think of textbooks or like the traditional instruction? I love the concept of like ladrillos. Like these are bricks, right? There are grammatical structures. There's structures that you need to learn, right? And so, but that wall is not going to stick unless you have some mortar, right? And you got to have some quality mortar. I was talking about that before. You got to have the right type of mix, temperature, the chemicals got to all be right. And that immersion experience and practice with feedback, you have to have that opportunity. And that mortar is what's going to have it stick. And that's what leads you to speaking with swag and speaking de manera como hablas usted. Okay, so sigue, porfa.
Sí, mi jefa fue una persona de Cuba, ella fue cubana, y está trabajando en México, quizás el español de México, el español de Cuba se mezcla para mí. Wow. And so I did that for a little bit, and then I was like, I think I want to go back to grad school. So I went to American University in DC, and got my master's in comunicación internacional y también de antropología, también. Antropología específicamente cultural, so cultural anthropology more specifically, right? And after that, I was like, all right, and I need something else to do, but I ain't trying to teach. I was like, dead set against being anybody's Spanish teacher. Like, this is real ironic, right? It's like, we ain't doing that. I ain't being nobody's techer. So I went into relief and development.
She just threw a whole bunch of shade because I've been a Spanish teacher my whole career. It's like, no, I understand totalmente lo que está diciendo. But yeah, go ahead.
Shade, because I've done it too.
I'm trying to help these Spanish teachers so we get more good quality people. But go ahead. Sorry. We all I'm working the body. Some of us are head, some of us are foot, some of us are heart, you know.
Sí, escucha esa historia porque además de eso, porque era una maestra por poco tiempo también.
Es maestra hoy en día.
Sí,
but
claro.
But you work for yourself. Eso.
Claro. So in Relief and Development, I was in charge of all of our media relations for our Latin America programming. So that meant I was going to Colombia, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Haiti, La República Dominicana, El Salvador. I was going to all of those places on a regular basis. And I need to come back and write in español y inglés stories about our programming for los periódicos, ¿sí? And so all these newspapers, all these secular and it was a faith-based organization. We'll leave it there. For a faith-based release and development organization.
Why we gotta switch to that voice? So that's naturally. That's part of you know, Afro American. Why we switch it? You know, you got to do that voice right there.
Right. Listen. I'm done now. I don't want no beef. I worked for a faith-based release and development organization, but yes, I was writing stuff for faith-based newspapers and secular newspapers in English and in Spanish about what we were doing. And mi primera vez a Colombia, mira, como bomba en la mente, ¿me entiendes eso? Porque la primera vez necesito pasar por inmigración. We're going down there to talk about desplazados, desaparecidos. We're going down there to have this conversation. Leí todo, escribí todo, hablé con las personas en mi oficina por horas y horas y horas. Estaba preparando, ¿sí? Y cuando abre la puerta, un salón, un cuarto, habitación, lo que quiere, cualquier palabra, lleno de negros.
En Colombia.
Y por todos los años que estudiaba español, yo no sé eso. Esa fue una sorpresa. Fue una sorpresa. En este momento se cambia todo de mi ideología, de mi mente, de mis pensamientos, de todo eso. Porque, mira, ¿hay negros? ¿De veras?
Porque no existe según los textos, los libros de textos.
Claro.
I mean, I taught in Baltimore for 6 años, and I remember using, I ain't gonna throw shade, but it wasn't the problem with the county, but rather the textbook was a major publication. And I promise you, the first time going through this whole textbook, 6 años, the first time you even see anyone that looks morenita, like, you know, de herencia africana, Afro-Latino, was capítulo 10, chapter 10, and most of the curriculum, you never get to the 10th chapter. Like, the first 2 years, even when you break it up in middle school, you never get to that chapter. And I remember being in a situation like, dude, I need images. And when I first started teaching, we couldn't search on Google like that. We had some whack, white-looking clip art that never reflected the community. It didn't even have, like, Latinos that are, like, non-blanco. You know, so I totally get that. When I first went to Costa Rica, my program did not even take us to the Caribbean, right? They didn't even take us. And then when I finally, one of my former associates, she was like, yeah, we got to go to Limon, Al Caribe Sur. And I'm like, huh? And when I told mi madretica, who I was living with, she said, no, Jessie, muy peligroso. And I'm like, why is it so peligroso? Oh, porque hay negros, right?
Negros. Los negros están. Mira, ten cuidado, mi amorita. Pero sí, en Colombia se cambió mi mente. So that changed my whole life. And I came back and I was like, kids need to know about this. Because I went to an HBCU, I took Afro-Hispanic Lit, and there was never that official connection. We read all of these Afro-Latino authors, but it was never, like, the connection was never, oh, they're living in Cuba, because there's a whole lot of us that live in Cuba, because our teachers weren't Black. Mm-hmm. My language professors, I had one language professor that was Black, and I had him for an independent study, but his specialty was Spanish Lit. I got into a Twitter battle with somebody about the Moors one day because they tried to come for your girl and they just didn't realize what I had. They're like, no, they weren't African that were in Spain. They were from here. I was like, brother, let me tell you something. What you're not gonna do is white blame me, but that's a whole other thing in and of itself.
We work every day.
Right. Okay. So I had that I had this whole revelation where, Black kids need to see this. And there was this program, because you said Baltimore, in PG County.
PG County, we rep that too.
Where they were doing career changers for teaching in the school system. You just had to agree to teach, Title I school, all that stuff, right? So they paid for me to get my certification to teach Spanish. So I left Relief and Development and started teaching Spanish. I taught an intro to languages class, and I taught Spanish 1 at a middle school for 2 years. And while I was teaching them this stuff, I was like, wait a minute, because this book, like you were saying, this book ain't hitting it. This book ain't hitting it. Necesito más de eso porque mis niños necesitan ver. So I started bringing my own pictures. Mm-hmm. I was in Relief Development. So I got pictures from me in Guatemala, me holding these babies, these AIDS babies, and these doing this and going here and going there. And when I was in Santa Tecla in El Salvador, después de terremoto, after they had that really huge earthquake and all of that stuff, I brought all my pictures in. And they were like, oh, we could travel?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you see, everything is so relative. And oftentimes, for our children, look at the images that we are given and exposed to, or what is like la mayoría de lo que ellos ven y miran en el televisor, en el internet, en el teléfono. And so I'm so thankful that we have a lot more of Black Americans traveling internationally, separate from the traditional, I'm going to Jamaica, and I'm going to say in like, ¿cómo se llama? What do they call those resorts?
Los resorts.
Community. And we have a lot more exploration occurring, along with so many expats that are like deuces. And so we have this influx, which is really good, but we want to not only do the physical travel, right? We want to also recognize and learn and study el lenguaje de la gente and know how well we're all connected, En
esta parte es muy importante para mí porque hay una diferencia entre viajar, visitar y turismo. Y muchas veces, todavía en presente, los negros que están viajando a otros países es por turismo, por las fotos por el gram, y no es para...
Estoy en Guatemala.
Mira, estoy en carro, ¿lo ves? Tengo mi cigarro. Mira, y está sentando cerca al lado de una persona quien practica IFA en Cuba. Y hay una conexión entre África y Cuba y estás sentando al lado de ella con su cigarro y es como chévere, pero no sabe porque no habla con ella. Que ella tiene una herencia africana más africana que ti.
That part.
Eso. Sí. And just so I started bringing my own pictures and all of that stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'm about to tear this book apart. And, you know, because Maryland tiene los estándares, tú sabes. And they're like, this is the order that you go in. And I was like, bump the order. We not doing that.
Right. Because guess what? When they give you that examen, right? Final, or por semestre, por cuarto, whatever, you still know what the end learning objectives are. But I don't got to take the prescribed route that you have allocated to me because it's normally not culturally relevant. And how can I function como una profesora de español o como una mamá, como una mujer negra, con mis estudiantes negros, and I just go with the flow, right? I'm lacking the mortar, and that's why these bricks, that's why everyone's like, yeah, it took 2 years of Spanish, and they sound horrible. Let me get necesito dos tacos, agua, ¿dónde está el baño? That's what your 2 years.
O a mismo lado, él dice, sí, yo tomé 2 años de clase de español. ¿De veras? ¿Y qué estudias? ¿Dónde estudias? ¿Otra vez? ¿No me entiendes?
Okay. Right, for 2 años. And even con esos 2 años, what's the end product? As much as we argue like, we're not just elective teachers or special teachers. Well, you gotta. That's what part of my fight is like. We gotta raise the bar because the Spanish school right now is, and let's just. I gotta add this extra part, especially serving even more so communities that are serving la gente negra.
Listen, I'm telling you, like, this is triggering for me because, you know, my kids are taking Spanish at school and they've been learning colors for 6 months, and I am pissed about it because I'm like, I've sent books with them, teach them how to read this. Like, while they working on those colors, you sit with them on his pronunciation, do all of this stuff, and my kids sitting in the back of the classroom bored to death because this woman will not listen to the Black woman with the PhD, we'll get to that in a minute, in language and culture, specifically for Black people. And when she's telling you, do this with my kids because I know this stuff already, and you think you know best, so my kids are bored.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it is real. It's extra real. And also, I know, because I think we still get caught like in between the cracks and off, like, let's just dust it to the side. Because then, there's so much that we are all fighting for in the United States when we talk about what MLK says, la injusticia en cualquier parte es una amenaza a la justicia para todo, right? And so it's so much injustice has been happening for so long that certain groups are, rising to the occasion and advocating for themselves. I think the seal of bilingual literacy is amazing, but it's still not meant for us. It's meant for people who are heritage speakers, which I think that's an amazing thing, and they need this. I am not anti. I am so pro that. But then when I look at it, it's still not targeted towards developing bilingual people who are not heritage speakers. And I'm not just limiting it to Spanish. It could be Francés, it could be Mandarin, it could be Urdu, whatever your curriculum or your school emerging program is. But it's like, again, I feel like we're still being left behind. Because in 2 years, think how much you can learn in 2 years. And then it's not like, I'm working with kids on a weekly basis and they're absorbing and we're speaking with swag. You're telling me 2 years where I have you every day or a block schedule twice a week? And I'm reflecting even when I taught within La Escuela Pública y Privada también. But it's just like, we have to do better. You got to do better, especially para nuestra gente.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I've got clients that I've been working with for a year. I had a client that came to me. She came to me as a French speaker. And she's been with me for just maybe a year and a couple of months. Our last session, I was like, all right, we about to start simultaneous interpretation. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And her eyes got big. I was like, nope, you got it. That's after a year. Yeah. Like, I'm teaching her the skills as what she needs in order to interpret. Because you work in the medical field. Come on, boo. You got to learn how to do this. So come on, let's get this skill set so that you can be ready so you can add it to your resume. Let's go.
Yes, because with that bilingualism, the part that no one likes to talk about, a lot of folks have jobs that are not totally fluent in English, but then they're heritage or native speakers of Espanol or whatever the language. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Well, why can't native speakers of American English learn bastante bien el español and acquire a bilingual work or academic opportunity? I mean, I know we have this
I've had so many people tell me. I've had so many people tell me as I was going through stuff. I've had so many people tell me when I was going through stuff that, well, you're not a native speaker, so you can't be bilingual. Like, let me tell you what, the first thing I did when I got my master's program was get certified in bilingual. The only thing they said, we can get you certified bilingual if you take these 3 classes that are taught in Spanish and at least get a B. I took those 3 classes, got an A in all 3, and was like, give me my Because what you're not going to do is tell me that I can't be bilingual.
Right. Exactly. But that's just, sadly, this is what it is, el estado, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And so, Dr. Kami, tú eres luchadora. You are actively fighting for our community to promote bilingualism para la gente negra en los Estados Unidos and abroad. And so tell us some of the amazing work that you are currently doing. And hold up, shout out, saludos. El 14 de diciembre. Hashtag, I told you she represent hashtag goals. It's Mamita, Queen, Black Mama, all that in a bag of barbecue chips. And will be a TEDx talk, tell us everything. Want to know all about you, all of that.
Yes. So December 14th and 16th, TEDx Dayton is going to be doing a virtual event for all of their speakers for 2021. I was one of their 2021 speakers. And the subject of my talk is Molón de Idiomas, teaching language swag in the foreign language classroom. So basically using my own experience as to why it is you need to center Blackness in the classroom so that kids can get language.
Yes. And I'm
excited about that.
Themselves. I have to tell you, that same, and it aligns 100% with your tema, because how you mentioned cuando tú estabas en Colombia y por la primera vez de ver tanta gente negra ahí. And I remember all throughout high school y en la universidad, I was like one of few Black people in my classes, and then, you get AP Spanish and then advanced Spanish, and you keep going on throughout college and everything. And along with not having any teachers, I had una profesora boricua, and she had a little toquecito de sangre negra, but she tried to front it, I think, a little bit. She tried to planchar that pelo, but I could see
what that white presenting. You call that white presenting in intercultural communication.
Right. In that hall, the language hall, and I saw them edges like, girl, don't front. I know you got a touch of the motherland. Yeah. But even still, I didn't see myself. And then in Costa Rica, going to the Caribe Sur, I saw myself. I saw beautiful people, all the same amazing, beautiful shades that we have here in los Estados Unidos of Black people. I saw that there. I saw people speaking Patois. I heard them. Saw them speaking Spanish. I love the way I hear people who have African ancestry speaking Spanish. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is what I want for my people here.
Exactly.
Langston Hughes says, I too, his famous poem, I too am American. I'm saying I too am bilingual. Us too, we can do this. Why not? It's in our blood to be polylingual. So,
and fun fact, Langston Hughes too was bilingual.
Yo no lo sabía. Ellos no les enseñan nada de esto. Wow.
It's this is a sidebar, but I think your people need to hear this. So yes, Langston Hughes spoke Spanish in Arturo Schomburg, the big Schomburg Center that's in New York. When they were running the streets in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, told him that he needed to help him with the project, and the project was to translate Black studies books into Spanish so that they can be distributed in Latin America.
Let me write that down. Langston Hughes would be bilingual, and he was a translator.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He spoke Spanish. James Weldon Johnson, Lift Every Voice and Sing. He spoke Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things that I do with Bilingual Brown Babies. Like, one of the things that I do is, like, every February I do Black History Facts with Blacks and that connect Blacks to language, and then I give away at the end of the month. I give away like a little PDF of all the facts that I gave for the year, so that they can have them. So it's like 26 Black History Facts that I give every February as a gift to folk, so they can be able to get it and have access to it and get the information. Because Blacks, we've been doing this language thing, and they making it seem like this is brand new, like we just now getting into it. No, honey, we've always been multilingual. Look at the continent.
Right. But you talking about James Weldon Johnson and Langston Hughes, like, again, when I was saying like the seal of bilingual literacy, I think it is amazing, and I'm so thankful for it. But we know that's not meant at the current rate of it's going. It's not targeted towards Black Americans. It's for heritage speakers, which I think is an amazing new thing that they've created.
Right. So, I've been picking that thing apart because I'm like, I'm about to figure out how I can give away this seal with Bilingual Brown Babies. I'm gonna work it out.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna work it out.
That's what I'm saying. And let me put this out there, parents, whether you are in Los Estados or afuera, your children, here's something else, setting our children up for success, right? And it's just, we don't know certain things, it's kept from us, or you got to seek, and ye shall find. So in addition, every school does not offer AP, right? And again, we know there's this academic, traditional, scholarly route that does not mean, and I want to encourage you. You may have been someone who did not get the score, that to get the credit, do not be discouraged. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Everyone has different routes to arriving to their destination. It's not a one size fits all, right?
Right.
But this SAT, they have this. That's what I'm working with my kids. My goal is their end product, one of their end products. By the time they reach 11th grade, I want to be able to coach them so that they can pass successfully the Spanish subject test. They have subject tests for the SAT. And so you may be like, well, my school doesn't offer AP, or maybe your school didn't pay you any attention because maybe they didn't think you were la creme de la creme, because that also happens, right? Oh, I'm not going to recommend. I think you just need honors Spanish instead of AP. Maybe that's your situation. Well, if you're working diligently, you have a language coach, and you really are committed to developing this bilinguismo, then you know what? You can take the SAT subject test. Right. And then that will place you at your level as well. So that's another option. I just want to throw that out there.
Right. And there's little things like that folks don't understand, like folks don't realize. Like there's that way to prepare for college. And you get to college and understanding that, there's ways to work around. Don't let your major tell you that you don't have a space for study abroad. There are ways to do it. If you are that type of student that can get into the honors program, you go to your honors director at the university and say, hey, I want a city as text, but I want it to be international.
Yes.
And then that director is then going to be charged to find the professor who's willing to take you overseas during spring break. And that counts as study abroad.
Yes. See, if we have to have this knowledge. And
I was an honors director at a university in Georgia, so I know all these little things. I created a class that took kids to Guatemala every other year, and then I took some students to Italy, and then I took them to London as well. But there were engineering majors who were told that you ain't got no space for it, and I was like, yeah, you do. You got a weekend March. Let's go.
Yeah. And guess what? When I lived in Costa Rica, I met a whole lot of Europeans who took a gap year. Like, that's very common. And again, you have to know thyself, right? So you have to know, your child has to know, I'm not promoting something where you're just going to be like on lazy mode, right? Or you're just going to bum out. Like, if you're someone that needs to go straight, directamente después de hacer el colegio a la rectola. Okay. But I met a lot of people that did the gap year experience, and they were using their skills, right? Their language skills, and getting international work experience, right? And living abroad, and then continuing with their studies. So there's different routes to this. I think that's amazing. So, una pregunta. I'm going to share the screen primeramente para enseñarle ellos a su sitio web. And for all of our amigos that are just listening to us audibly on the podcast, I just want to let you know that you can go to bilingualbrownbabies.com. Okay, and I'm going to be silenciosa callada so that you can explain to us what is all available in tu sitio and things of that nature.
All right, so if you go to my site, you'll see, if you go under the homepage, of course, you'll see me up there with my logo and all of that stuff. But there you'll see my products and services or what it is that I offer. So I work with parents where with parents and families where I help the parents to be able to cultivate their language and teach them how to use it at home so that they can be able to get their kids to a point where they're actually used to hearing language on a regular basis. I work with homeschool co-ops. Twice a year, I do a baby bonding workshop for new mommies where I help them to be able to start with teaching Spanish, with working in Spanish with their babies. So I teach them how to use songs and certain terms and things that you say on a regular basis with the babies in order to get them used to and comfortable using it. And then I work with homeschool co-ops too, where I'll do intergenerational classes. I am not that language coach that is going to let the adults sit in the background and observe their kids learning stuff. You're going to get your hands dirty because if they don't see you doing it, they're not going to see the value in it. So, yeah. So if you're looking for, I want somebody who's going to teach my child, I am not that person. I work with the entire family, adults included. And actually my focus is on these adults.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Says we love languages and we love empowering Black families with language. I think that's amazing. And also you have a book. I believe I clicked on the link and it's
yes.
Here.
So I have a book that I wrote for Black families and like why is it important for us to be able to do this in the first place? It's Raising Bilingual Brown Babies. I also have 2 editions now of a homeschool curriculum where it's listed with you can get the first edition or you can get the second edition, which has additions. It's talking about Black language in Spanish. It's got a couple more countries in there, but I have it broken down where it's by country, yes, but only Black history in those countries. So you're only going to get some. I'm talking about Mexico, but I'm giving you the Black history of Mexico. Yes. So you about Peru, but I'm going to give you the Black history of Peru. I just added Bolivia. And Bolivia, Bolivia has a whole Black monarchy in Bolivia with their own flag and everything. So I talk about that in the second edition of the curriculum. But it's in a way where if you don't speak the language, you can still use the curriculum to be able to introduce language to your child. If you do speak it and you want to push them, it's got stuff in there for you to be able to push them with projects and things like that. And because I know how it goes for us when we're homeschooling, there's all this extra scrutiny on us because, unless somos morenitas y negra y todo eso. So in the back of the book are all of the national standards for Spanish that shows you exactly where your child should be, exactly where your child is. And if you want me to do an assessment of them, if you purchase the curriculum and you want me to do an assessment, I have a test that I can give you in order for you to be able to say, oh, yes, my child places here according to the Cal standards.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. And we're going to continue the conversation, but I also want to emphasize, please follow Dr. Kami at Bilingual Brown Babies in Instagram. She is always posting. This is how I found this amazingly intelligent, beautiful, inside and out Black and bilingual queen. I'm sorry, Black and trilingual queen. And I love that she's always posting, like it's a whole vibe there. Like she's always like coming and bringing the real. And so please check her out, learn more about her. She has so many amazing things. And I just wanted to put that plug out there.
Yes, girl, like a shout out. I could do a shout out now, honey. I like that. Me encanta mucho.
Okay, so we got to talk about eso otra cosa. How many times have you, or let me preface it like this. When I would say after I studied abroad in Costa Rica, como estudiante de intercambio en el año 2005, and having that immersion experience, I'm so forever grateful for that, por la primera vez de vivir allí. But after coming back to the States, because the image, right, the sound, the image, the concept of being Black, living in the U.S., and you speak Spanish with what I like to call swag, like de manera casi nativa. That's what it is, como un nativo, like a native speaker. People forever were making assumptions that I was Latina, to the point where at first I took it as a compliment. You're saying I speak very well. But then after a while, it started messing with me like, wait a minute, why can't I be Black American and be bilingual? Why are you forcing me to be in a box? And shout out to all the beautiful Afro-Latinos en el mundo. Like, we're all, I believe, todos somos hijos de Dios. And so we're all God's beautiful children. But my thing is like, why is it, again, this stigma? Why is it being associated that I, too, am not something? Right? I've read a quote before that said, by stating who you are, you also are stating who you are not. And so by me, my look, your look, being African American and speaking Spanish con fluidez, fluently, why is it then, associated like, oh, then you can't just be that. You have to be of Hispanic heritage. Oh, who's your grandma? Where your grandma from? You got some of your family? How do you do that? Oh, So I want to hear your take on that.
Es muy cómico porque cada vez está hablando con una persona en español, dice, ¿de dónde eres? Mi respuesta cada vez, Wisconsin. No, right. ¿De dónde eres? Wisconsin. ¿Y tu madre, de dónde eres? DC. No, la herencia es negra, africana, vida.
Right.
And according to Ancestry.com, somewhere in Angola, so that's Portuguese. Right. And it's like, I think my whole thing is, me and my kids are walking by that looks like to normalize Black and language speaking and language and multilingualism and all that stuff. My oldest child, he speaks Spanish, but he speaks Mandarin. He speaks Mandarin. Like, he is thriving in his Mandarin class. He's in the 7th grade getting high school credit for Mandarin right now. Yes. Because, we normalize this whole language thing. And what I say all the time is, what I do with the work that I do is I help us tap back into our ancestral memory of multilingualism. Like, it's there. The genetic marker is in the back of our head. And all I'm doing is tapping into our power so you can push it back up to the front, because we've always been doing that. But opresión, esclavitud, y todo eso, that's all prevented us from being able to understand. Like, we were literally, there's the term that they use, we were language isolated on purpose. And when we were in our period of enslavement, we were language isolated. And that isolation.
I'm taking notes, y'all, just so you don't think every time you listen, you got to educate. I'm taking notes. I got tap back into the genetic marker linguistics. Take notes, copious notes. Okay, sigue, mi amor.
Right. So because we were language isolated, they took our language and then forced us to do one that we had never heard before. They separated us so that we couldn't find other people that spoke our language. They did all of this stuff, and it was part of les para el sistema, ¿sí? El sistema es de opresión, necesita saber eso. No, ellos no pueden hablar, ellos no pueden leer, ellos no pueden escribir, todo eso, right? We couldn't do any of that stuff, and it was on purpose because they saw. When they got to the continent, they saw us. They weren't just in Senegal only seeing Wolof people. They were in Senegal seeing the Wolof and the Hausa and the all those other the Bambara and all. They saw all of them, and they were mixing and talking and doing and getting work done and exchanging goods and the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
So we got to go back to normalizing that. What does it look like? What is it like when I go to Senegal and I'm at the market and people are speaking French and Wolof and Hausa, and I'm like, oh, okay. So what I'm really doing is I'm recreating marketplace in the United States. I'm recreating where you're gonna go from one shop speaking English, another shop speaking Spanish, another shop you might be, hey, we all up in this BE, we all up in this Black English, because listen, this is not the bodega, this the counter store. So we about to do it like this, but we're meshing all of that stuff together. So when I'm thinking about how I'm working with my folks and how I'm working with my families, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, you need all of this to be a whole person. And I'm not suppressing nothing. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh no, you can't speak in Black English when you're no, because half the time I'm gonna do it. I do it with my kids all the time. So when I say, hey, you better not, if I say, hey, you better not, they know what I mean. If I say, hey, no lo haga para nada, they know what I mean. And I'm not saying, hey, please don't do that, because right now we're in a space where and I'm saying, oh, mi amor, por favor, no lo hagas eso porque es muy importante. It's quick, it's urgent, it's so, and bringing that back. So I always think about like recreating the linguistic capacity of the African marketplace. That's really all I'm doing.
And you know, it aligns. It takes the James Baldwin quote of if Black English isn't a language, then tell me what is. And like you're augmenting it by adding this multilingual component to it. Oftentimes, you know, you have an academic standard, just like there may be jargon that you speak in the law in the courtroom. There's language that's medical terminology that people who are not in the medical industry normally probably won't use it, and it's not applicable to their lives. But when it comes to us, I think oftentimes it's been banged on our head so much about code switching that it has like this negative connotation. But wait a minute, the way that you speak en tu casa, en tu familia, en tu comunidad, that tienen valor. This is not something bad. Right. You cannot shame it. Cuando era maestra in Baltimore, and again, we had hay una población salvadoreña muy grande ahí. And so I also had some Dominican students. I had muy poco Mexicanos. The majority were Salvadoreño, por herencia. And then we had some Dominican students, again, muy poco Mexicano. And I remember I had some students that joined, I think it was like my third or fourth year teaching, and they were morenito. And even the discrimination within, because we know we have colorism and those same issues, it seems even more so, you know, everybody's growing and healing. We all in this healing and growing situation together. But it's just this concept of, wait a minute, how, because the textbook says this is, así es como se dice. And if you, and this goes for anyone that is a Spanish teacher out here watching or listening to our conversation, right? We are all here to learn and grow. It's no shade, it's no judgment, but it's facts. If you have a student that is a native or heritage speaker en tu clase, and you're saying, según el currículo, según el libro de texto, así es como se dice, and you just ignore and just like denounce them, you have lost them. You have lost their respect. You have lost that buy-in factor. And what are you also communicating to your non-heritage or native speakers? You need to embrace. Put up on the board ese vocabulario, pero en este país se dice esto. Y en esa parte del país dice eso. Por ejemplo, somos del Midwest, digamos pop, right? In Baltimore, in the East Coast, nadie afuera del Midwest says pop. They say soda. Down south, they can refer to Coke. They say, you want a Coke? And they come back with a Sprite. Because it's a generic term. But how dare I, from the Midwest, go to Baltimore and then try to tell them, no, it's not soda, it's pop.
Right. I did a whole lesson for my clients one time. I was like, you know, there's 11 different ways to say straw in Spanish. It's 11. Yeah. The word that I learned was popote. But
yo aprendí pajillo.
Sí. I said, then we got pajillo. There's 11 different ways to say it. But I actually had a student that was from Puerto Rico that I taught when I was teaching.
Momento más. Está un poco pegado.
And I had to tell.
Momento, mi amorcita.
Hey,
está pegado.
Good.
Okay, ahora tenía un estudiante puertorriqueño. Okay.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so I had a student. Yeah, a student from Puerto Rico, and I said, my whole thing is, I know that you can speak. I don't care that you can speak. That's great. I need you to read and write this stuff. And if you're not willing to read and write this, you're not going to pass my class. So that's what our focus is going to be. Do this work, write this stuff out, read these passages. If you're not willing to do that, I can't pass you because I'm trying to make sure that you can function. I know that you can talk. You talk to your mama all the time. I talk to your mama all the time. And that ain't what I'm worried about. Can you with this? Can you send an email? Because you already can make $10,000 more than your classmates.
Right. So let
Just
me equip you. Let me equip you with what you need. Yes. Carter G. Woodson the father and creator of Black History Week and then became Black History Month, he said almost 100 years ago, many people want to uplift the Negro, but they don't want to develop him. And so I want to encourage us, not just about the empowerment. We need the advocacy. We need the empowerment. We need the upliftment, all that. But it's like, it's weightless. It's not substantiated unless you also are equipping people. And so we need literacy skills, right? Because we need literacy, reading, the ability to read and write, interpret, as well as conversational skills. You know, because again, we don't want to limit ourselves. There have been so many limitations that have been placed, not just on Black people, on just about everybody in different capacities, ways, and shapes and forms. Pero sí, it's muy importante. You want to be well balanced. Most definitely. And I love that you said
exactly. Like one of the things that I do.
I'm sorry, it's a glitch. Real quick.
Yeah, one of the things that I do with my,
you said, let's normalize this multilingualism in the Black American community. I just wanted to make sure. I told y'all I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do with my moms when I'm doing my baby bonding workshop is I do a whole session on these are the questions that you can ask when you go to the daycare and they tell you that they teach language. These are the questions that you ask to make sure they're really teaching language. You ask this question, you ask this question, you ask them how long, you ask them these, and this is how you know whether or not your child is really getting quality stuff. Let's learn how to be advocates for our kids. This is how you check. I do it with the folks about my curriculum. This is how you check to make sure that they're actually getting what they're supposed to be getting in class. If you're doing this, then that means when they get to school, they should be doing this, this, and this. And if the teacher doesn't have them doing that, that's a problem. You need to advocate. If you want to call yourself a bilingual family, absolutely put bilingual on your applications. No, you can refuse remediation for reading because guess what? Racism. If you put Spanish on your school application, it's an automatic red flag for remediation, and they assume you need reading help.
Yeah.
Just because you click box. Not French, not Urdu, but Spanish is a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's information that La Gente Hispana need to know, you know, because again, they track students and there's labels that are going on. But again, as Dr. Kami said, you have to advocate for your children. Para tu familia propia. You have to be the advocate. You cannot expect somebody else to do it. Because with that expectation comes other things, other strings are attached. And I ain't trying to be anybody's marionette. I don't need to be anybody's puppet, right? We need to advocate for ourselves and advocate for our children. Any final words, Cami, that you would like to share con nosotros? Estoy again, otra vez, bien agradecida por su tiempo, por haberse tomado el tiempo de estar aquí con nosotros. But please, anything that you want to leave us with as we come to a close?
Sí, algo que pueda dejar fue los idiomas están en nuestro corazón, ¿sí? So languages are in our heart, and our heart is our swag. Yeah. And if we're not walking and leading with our heart, folks will never see how we embody this stuff. Like you sat here for almost the hour, different forms of swag, and Black women doing a thing, so you know it's possible. So all you got to do is just take the first step. Like all you got to do is say, you know what, today I'm just gonna tell my kids I'm gonna stop saying hi to my baby when they get in the car, and I'm gonna say hola.
Sí, poco a poco. It's just something, and whatever you learn, because there's so many amazing. I keep stressing y'all. There are so many amazing free resources, right, with authentic speakers, right? So it's like no excuse, but when you learn, put it into practice. Like you said, greeting your kids, hola, buenos días, mi amor, without teaching them buenos días means good morning. You wake your child up in the morning, time to get ready for school, buenos días, they will make that natural connection. It means good morning without you having flashcards. You know, flashcards are also awesome too,
right?
Make it authentic.
Exactly.
Perfectísimo. I love it. So again, everyone, please
make it authentic.
Quickly, Mommy, en diciembre for the TEDx talk, So how do they access that information to know so they can watch when you're on?
You go to www.tedxdayton.com. You should be able to see there. You'll have a link that'll say the virtual event for 2021, and you can be able to get all the information from there. You'll even see my little picture up there as a speaker.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So again, I want to emphasize, I'm looking it up right now so I can have that TEDxDayton.com. Okay. Again, I want to emphasize, please reach out, manda un mensaje a Dr. Cami si tiene cualquier pregunta sobre su currículo, you have a question about her resources, her curriculum, sus servicios. Ella está aquí para servirles, here to serve you, whether tú estás en los Estados Unidos, or if you are abroad. We have a growing population of amazing, beautiful Black expats that are abroad. And so we are here. Dr. Cami está aquí para ayudar. Please check her out again on Instagram, Bilingual Brown Babies. That is her website as well, bilingualbrownbabies.com. And I just want to send you lots of love, light, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, wealth on the inside, because like Kendrick said, I ain't got the jewelry on me, I got the jewelry in me. So we know you are tú eres bien rica por dentro y por fuera. We gonna claim it por fuera, pero la cosa más importante siempre es lo que de adentro de tu corazón. And so shout out to you. Thank you so much, mi amor. Bendiciones a ti, a tu familia, a todo lo que haces. Yes, and I'm so gifted and I'm so happy for future collaborations.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yes, perfecto. Please, this woman is beyond blessed and beyond an amazing resource. Please, everybody, check her out. Again, y'all, I got so hyped, I knocked over my microphone. I was like, move, oh, she talking some truth. She done told me Langston Hughes was bilingual. Lord, I didn't know. Yo no sabía. Yo, that's how you say, I didn't know. Yo no sabía. Yo no sabía. I did not throw the microphone. Get out of here. Okay, y'all. I hope everyone stays safe, have fun, live life, seek the Creator while He is near, enjoy, advocate for your family, learn languages, tap into that. I love that DNA marker. It's in our blood, y'all. Okay, we are not meant to be monolinguistic people walking around here. So embrace that bilingualism. Reach out to Dr. Cami y bendiciones. I'll talk to y'all next time. Adios. Ciao.
Sprinkle that swag, stop walking around posting like, yeah, yo me llamo. Dude, you sound ridiculous. Your ignorance is not conspicuous. Hey, I'm speaking from experience, not a guru, but striving for excellence.